Nice. That's everything we'll do today. So I'll, call out the spots we're in when we're in them, and the link's in there, so if you just want to have the doc open, and y'all have all pretty much been here, so if you just want to listen along and join along as things go out loud, that's the beauty of doing a very repetitive sort of exercise, is that you kind of can go off script. You don't have to look so much, It's not like Cha where, well, you can memorize Cha, I'm sure, very easily, but I don't have Cha memorized at all, and so I really have to just read the whole time, actively reading, which is, not always the smoothest journey as a chanting sonic experience, so we'll go ahead and get started. Whoever floats in can float in. I am, recording already, but welcome to our second sit of the year. We started off the year, or we did the last day of the year, and now we're here. Yeah, we sat on the first day. Let me admit somebody. And my name's Eli Rin. I use all pronouns. I'm coming to you from land I'm not sure of. I'm not even sure what state colonially I am in. Either Pennsylvania or New Jersey at the end of it. Or Delaware or something. No, Delaware is way back there. But I'm on the east coast of Turtle Island, where I don't frequent, but I'm happy to be. And I'm coming to you all today from the back of the car, so I invite you to come as you are as well, on screen, off screen, do what you need to do, move how you need to move to feel safe and held today. The agency hopefully is there as an invitation to really not just participate in the rituals as you please, but to participate in each moment as you please, right? What if we actively chose each moment? What would that kind of mean for both empowerment and accountability? I think that's kind of what I've been thinking of just on this drive over here, of like, how do I balance those two things out in a way that doesn't feel so like transactional or non-communal. I think I was just really thinking as I took a little trip this past few days. I was in New York, I was in DC for the big protest on the 13th yesterday, which was my actual birthday, and I just experienced so many different waves of community and so many different types. I got to sit with people that I don't usually sit with. One of my friends is a Broadway person, and I got to go be a part of their show where they were doing comedy singing, and all of a sudden we took a little jello breath in the middle, and it was cool to be on a New York stage for the first time at the Public Theater at Joe's Pub. But there was just so many different varieties of that kind of coming together and taking care of each other. And it felt really like a free flow. And, I'm coming off of, and sorry, Zuleika, you just heard all of my stories from winter, but now you're going to hear them again. But I'm coming off of I take care of my friend's 1.5-year-old 5 days a week in the daytime, in the mornings of the weekdays. And then I do meditation and stuff and body work and all that in the afternoons, evenings, whatever, weekends. And so I am coming off of 2 weeks of seeing them every day and watching a 5-month-old bull mastiff puppy that was already the size of a big medium-sized dog. And I didn't know. I've taken care of so many puppies. I've taken care of probably over 100 babies. I was an infant room teacher. I raised all my cousins, so used to it. And then the combination of the two put me on my butt. I was just whoa, this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Just everywhere. They were great friends. It was very sweet. They had such cute moments, but also just trying to protect them from each other was different than 2 babies or 2 dogs, They were not on equal playing field in some key ways. And so I really got burnt out and was feeling wow, care work is taking me through the trenches. And so to have these past few days be just really light, open, and grievous still, not by any means light content, but there was just a sense of lightness, as in we're taking this step together so it doesn't feel so heavy. Like we're holding each other through walking somewhere, and that makes it feel lighter, even though whatever we're walking through is whatever we're walking through. And so, for me, the month of January feels like the transition from previous year to next year. Like kind of the between Gregorian New Year and Lunar New Year. You know, as we move all the way, that's kind of like a big transition portal for me, you know, arbitrarily marked by me, but it just feels nice to tune into. And so today, as we sit and call in Mother Harriet and move through our practices, maybe we can open up some space, perhaps, within ourselves or within our imagination even, of thinking of great pauses, of what happens in between all the things we measure, right? We're always thinking of today, tomorrow, this week, next month. We have so many ways that we divide up our time and think of it and separate it from each other. And then there's also, especially with people with meditative practices or things that are artistic, that slow you down, anything like that, where you're immersed, there's those expansive, unmeasured pauses that really can be, I think, a deep homecoming of when you're like in some sort of groove, whether it be meditation, maybe you're on a walk, maybe you're just like looking at like a really bright red cardinal that all of a sudden landed on a fence nearby you, and you stop thinking of, oh, this is 1 minute of my time that I'm looking at this bird and I love it. Like even that, you're not measuring it. Like I have 30 minutes to nap. Like you're just taking something in for a second. And you just look, and there's a space there that we don't label. And so I won't label it. It's different for all of us. I won't give us a word to even pretend to attach to and pretend to let go of, because we're all humans and we're gonna latch on. But there's a space there. And it's something different for all of us. It's something different every time, probably. But that's what I really want to explore today. As we breathe, as we chant, as we listen, as we just unclench our jaw over and over and over again. To just notice what's happening in the pauses. And without attaching to any stories, to just be with it and see what that's like. It doesn't have to be like anything in particular. It could feel like nothing, it could feel like a lot, but just to really feel ourselves today is my invitation. And so we'll start just by taking a little communal breath, breathing in, letting it all out. Take a second to join yourself in your seat, wherever you sit or lay. There'll be the bell. Take a second to notice where you feel your breath today. Wherever you are. Maybe you feel it trickling in the back of the nose and throat. Perhaps you feel your lungs gently filling, deflating. Or maybe you feel your breath all the way down deep in your belly. Wherever you notice it today, there's no need to change it. We're just gonna start this process of checking in, of deep listening, of taking stock. How am I right now? How do I meet myself in this arising moment? And as we breathe in and out, we'll take a couple bell breaths together before moving into Okinaga, and I'll give some explanation for that. But we'll just breathe in with the high bell, which sounds like this. And we'll breathe out with the low bell, which sounds like this. We'll go through a few breaths like this, just relaxing, opening up our space a little. And then we'll invite Mother Harriet in and go to our longer breathing exercise, Okinaga. We'll all breathe in together. Breathe out. In. Let your breathing return to normal. And perhaps you take a minute to imagine yourself sitting, standing, laying down at the edge of a big, vast river. Maybe you can see all the way across it. Maybe at some points you can't. The water's rushing by. You can feel the breeze rolling across your skin, perhaps a slight mist from the water. The sun sets. You stand at the edge of the river, your body gently supported by the earth. And you start to notice, perhaps in the distance over some trees, the moon is starting to rise. As the moon gently rises into the sky, you just take a few breaths there by the water, feeling the base of your spine root down into the pelvis. Feeling as you exhale, the body sinking into the earth, it literally holding its impression of you with care. And the moon starts to shine its light as it raises in the sky, gently reaching out to the skin, bathing it. No matter what's around you, it's all touched in this same light. And yet, depending on what the light touches, it's illuminated in its own way. The water lights up different than your skin, yet they're still both bathed in moonlight. And so as the moonlight starts to just gently cascade on everything, we can open up our space. Perhaps inviting Mother Harriet to join us by the water. We can speak internally from our heart space, saying, Mother Harriet, please join me and see me as I push towards liberation. Lend me your prayer. And with this invitation, she gladly joins us. Whether you feel her in the water, whether she starts to appear, sitting beside you or standing, whether you notice her in the mist of the moonlight, she joins you by the water. One of her great passageways and one of the scariest things to convince people to do while escaping enslavement was to cross deep waters. But it was necessary. They crossed very deep waters to get there. They were obviously and justifiably hesitant. But walking through water clears your scent. It frees you from animals that might be tracking you. And she would sing, "Wade in the water," is one of the stories, to warn people. Get into the river, wash your scent clean. It'll protect you. That thing you're afraid of, if you lean in, what might you discover there? The possibility. And so we just sit and breathe. Mother Harriet by our sides or in our heart space. Perhaps the wind picks up a little, chilling our body. And we can hear in the howl of the wind against trees, a gentle song. Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble these waters. And the wind dies down. And no matter what we see around us, there's us and everything, and at the same time, it's just us and this moonlight. She paints the picture of our surroundings for us, showing us again that what we see is a trick of dark and light and what mixes in between. And so what more can we do than just be here and take each iteration of the universe as it arises? And so as we feel our bodies checking in, staying with the light, staying with Mother Harriet, staying with the sounds wherever we need to, or flowing forward, we can begin our practice. And I'll paste one more time in the chat. Here we go. into our Heart Sutra mantra and opening up our main practice of Mother Harriet, where we'll be chanting Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate BODHI, which is the main mantra from the Heart Sutra, roughly translated to gone, gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakening, so be it. And in this kind of time of deep revolution and true upheaval of not just the material world, but the spiritual world, the way we've attached to lineage is coming under question, every single aspect of the way we live as humans is always important, but right now is in flux in a very tangible way, right? We're on this ride, whether we like it or not. This isn't one of the shifts that's slow and I imagine getting out of the water, probably a slow, gentle shift for us. Just whoa, we can breathe now, we're exploring the beach. Chill. This shift is a little bit different than that. We are to a point where we are seeing more than we've ever seen, right? Just with the way our world works, we can take in more than I think ever felt capable. And so in order to participate in a world where we're inundated with so much input, sensory, violence, oppression, even just the sounds of our world, right? The lights of our world. We can't see the stars because we're too bright down here, depending on where you are. Sometimes people are very fortunate to always see the stars, but I can't see the stars them as much as I want to. And so with that comes this kind of disconnection. So with this going beyond mantra, we will sit with Mother Harriet in that moment, perhaps, before you step into the deep waters. Perhaps we're already in waters, but we can energetically get ourselves to that edge of the water. And as we chant, if you'd like a visual, if you prefer chanting with a visual, I would invite you to really just imagine yourself walking into a river. Just to the waist or knees, nothing too treacherous, but just really getting into the waters, feeling its flow. And noticing what arises as we send the current of our voice into the current of these waters. So I'll ring the bell, and then we'll begin. Gate Parasamgate BODHI SVAHA Gate Paragate Parasamgate BODHI SVAHA Gate Paragate Samgati Bodhi Swaha. Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati 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 Bodhi Swaha. And now we can take that energy, take that vibration, see if you can bask in it a little, and we'll move into our communal prayers, which are in the chat. I have them over here. If you'd like to join me with your palms together, palms at the heart, whatever feels like a holding gesture or an offering gesture, you can assume that. And we can say aloud together, may all beings be free. May those suffering experience liberation. May we hold each other through revolution. May we abolish everything that is not love. May we rebirth a free world. Ashe. I invite you to just take a second right now to find a part of your body that would appreciate some warmth. Whether it be rubbing your hands against each other. Sometimes it's nice to rub the hands, place the palms on the eyes. A gentle holding of the wrist, kind of next to the chest, is nice for kind of a safe gesture. I know my neck always needs a little bit of a check-in. As we kind of re-arrive in this moment, in this version of how our bodies are showing up, we'll move into our spiritual for the second half of this main practice of We Shall Not Be Moved, which is also in the chat. And when we sing this song, someone yesterday I was sitting, or 2 days ago I was sitting with, we were doing a kind of humming exercise, and they noted, oh, it feels like in order to sing this song all the way, I have to sing from my pain. And I was just like, oh yeah, and we were talking about that, and I was just like, yeah, that's really, and I get that, I feel that, singing from your pain. And I was just, that like resonated with me, and so I was thinking about it later, because I also in the moment was like, oh, interesting, my experience is different, but I was just like listening, so I was like, I want to think about that later, like why is mine different? And so later when I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to think about that, which was this morning, I was thinking, it used to only feel like singing from the pain, for me, spirituals. It was always like, I have to come undone. And that's what my body's asking for, so I'm gonna do it, but wow, is this rough and brutal, and like, I know it's a beginning and not the sustainable middle, I know this is, I'll go through it, but I need to be looking for what's the next way, or where's this going? So I'm not just going down, because that's a road I can easily go down. I have the analytical time for it, so let me not start. And for me now, singing these spirituals, I'm singing from my pain, but singing from my pain is singing from my joy. It's the same well. I drink from one well, and all my water gets to my organs, right? I'm not drinking heart water, and then liver water, and then kidney water, and then spleen water. I'm drinking from the earth, and my body processes it as a tree falls down and is processed by the land, right? These are just systems that are in play that we get to participate in. And so, welcome in, Amrita. And so, as we move into the second half of the main practice, we can really perhaps invite in that deep knowing of, well, thank you to the chat, but that deep knowing of like, okay, this moment, this portal, whatever I'm arriving to, this spiritual, this pain that I'm singing from, is not singular, just like nothing else is. And so, what does it mean to feel that, not just think it? What does it mean to sing from my pain and cry tears of joy? What's that experience like? What does it mean to be confused and in wonder as I'm sad and singing a happy song, right? Like, there are so many layers that can come into our experience, into our even just deep listening or deep breathing with ourselves. And so, as we move into this spiritual, we shall not be moved, we'll go through really just tapping into, first, opening ourselves up, maybe, to what's here. And that can be it, right? That is it, essentially. But if we want to step to, perhaps it can be what else, right? What's underneath that? What's around it? What accompanies that? What's inexplicably merged within it, right? Let's just find a little space. Sometimes I like to think of like the vibrations in my body as just like making a little tiny mini portal through all my atoms, right? We think we're one body, but like we're a bunch of little frantically moving things. And so, like when I drink water, it blows my mind to think it's just a bunch of atoms kind of more clumped together falling through atoms that are clumped together in a different way. And so my voice is that too. And let me just shake my whole frame, right? Let me send it into the ground. So that's kind of, I'm letting myself kind of run free with the tangents today since it's my birthday weekend. So we're just hearing all my thoughts today. But all right, let's return to our body, or stay here wherever we are. Perhaps taking just one gentle breath in and out on our own pace. We might return visually if we'd like to, spiritually, physically, to the edge of our water, the edge of our river. And before we start singing, we'll just start with 2-3 minutes of just the drum, of just feeling our own heartbeat, rocks falling against each other, just the land. Before we even need to say a word, we can just arrive. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Just take a moment to sit here, with the wind, with your voice, with your own hum, with shakes of your body. Like a tree planted in the water. At the edge of this river, a deep-rooted tree. Impossible to say if its roots are even above or under land, because you see them from above, they reach under the water, they peek up into the river at some points, occupying each space of earth, deep core, and reaching up into the sky. Immovable, and yet completely in motion, completely alive. A home, a place to visit, a place to become. It's the portal of every breath for me. Sitting next to Mother Harriet for me is sitting next to the water. Is breathing deeply in, is sitting in this car even right now that's being shaken by wind, and hearing that. Wade in the water. Just beating through my heart. Warm through my tears. Cold when they dry. Salt remaining long after I've cried. So much transformation. Yeah, that's what I'm especially grateful for during this practice with you all. Thank you so much for sitting with me today, for your prayers, for your spirit, for your smiles. We can thank Mother Harriet. We can thank Lama Rod. We can thank all of the people who led us here today. We can thank ourselves. And I'll just open up the space to